High altitude pulmonary edema, also known as HAPE, is a dangerous condition that can happen when someone goes up to a high altitude, like climbing a tall mountain, too quickly. At high altitudes, there's less oxygen in the air, and the body has to work harder to get enough of it to supply normal functions, and especially hard to supply exercise. When oxygen in the air drops, the blood vessels in the lungs respond by tightening or constricting. This causes extra pressure in some parts of the lungs, similar to turning up the water pressure in a garden hose. That extra pressure can cause tiny blood vessels in the lungs to leak, allowing fluid to build up. First around the air sacs, where oxygen has to move through to get to the blood, and then sometimes inside of them. When fluid fills the lungs, it's harder to breathe and get a sufficient amount of oxygen. This is also worsened by the increase in cardiac output that occurs at altitude, or the amount of blood pumped by the heart per minute, which can further raise the blood pressure and increase the likelihood of capillary blood vessel damage. Some of the symptoms of the resulting low blood oxygen levels include shortness of breath even when resting, a cough, chest tightness or pain, overly heightened heart rate, fatigue or weakness, such as being extremely tired doing small tasks, confusion or dizziness, and trouble sleeping. If untreated, there may be a loss of consciousness, seizures, strokes, or death if severe oxygen deprivation is prolonged. The most important treatment is to go down to a lower elevation. As you go lower, the air has more oxygen. This relieves stress in the lungs as they relax and pressure decreases. Additionally, supplying direct oxygen through a tank or mask can increase blood oxygenation and help reverse fluid buildup. Lastly, medicines such as nifedipine can help lower the blood pressure in the lungs and reduce vessel fluid leakage. Over time, the fluid will be reabsorbed by the body and conditions will return back to normal. High altitude cerebral edema, also known as HACE, is a severely dangerous condition that can occur at high altitudes from a lack of acclimatization after rapid ascent, or from underlying health conditions. HACE often develops as a progression of acute mountain sickness. At high altitudes, there's less oxygen in the air, resulting in less oxygen in the blood and the brain being starved. To compensate, the body sends more oxygenated blood to the brain by expanding or dilating the brain's blood vessels, in conjunction with increasing cardiac output to pump more total blood volume since the brain is such a vital organ. These changes, while helpful, increase the pressure inside of the blood vessels and can result in them leaking fluid inside of the skull, causing swelling. Since the brain is inside the skull, a rigid enclosed space, it can't swell excessively without causing problems such as brain tissue compression and damage, nervous system disruption, or further brain blood flow reduction. Some of the symptoms of swelling and excess fluid in the brain include a severe headache that persists, clumsiness or the feeling of being drunk, confusion, disorientation, or weakness. If untreated, HAZE can progress to the person falling into a coma, potentially permanent brain damage from cells dying, or even complete death. This is why these signs are a medical emergency. The most important treatment is to descend to a lower altitude immediately after the symptoms appear to give the brain more oxygen and relieve pressure. If possible, using an oxygen mask or steroids can reduce the edema and swelling in addition to relieving symptoms. If immediate descent isn't possible and you have access to a gamma bag, these bags can simulate thousands of feet in pressure changes to save someone's life before fully descending.